All right, guys, thanks for joining us again. Scott Shelton here, creative director of Scholar House Media. Again, joined by my fabulous co-host, Mr. Danny Ortiz, global director of business development for Cyanna Education Services. And we're super excited to be joined by the director of XR, Mr. Jeff Rees.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So what a lot of people may not know is that, Danny, you and Jeff, you guys go way back.
We go way back.
So give us a little bit about the background of, how you guys started in XR technologies together and how that got us to where we are today.
Jeff, you want to start the story?
Sure. About 2015, I got involved in XR technology. I started building virtual reality games. And then I met up with you and another colleague who started up an immersive company. And you brought me on board to start building some really exciting applications at the time. So that's how I kind of really got involved with the XR technology, and that's also where I met you.
Absolutely. At that time, I was working with Third Wave Digital, which is our venture backing company out of Silicon Valley in California, LA area. So we wanted to bring that immersive XR, VR, MR. Now there's a whole bunch of acronyms here that we're going to figure out here, but we'll tell you what they are. But we wanted to bring it down here to the Midwest, and we call it the Silicon Valley. And now with Intel and everything happening, we feel like 8 years ago we were, the catalyst of bringing this kind of immersive technology to this area. And we had an incredible team. We did a lot of great work. We did a lot of VR work, which we'll get into what VR is and what AR is. We got into a lot of AR work, and we had a lot of fun and a lot of time, a lot of trial and error, Jeff.
Oh, my. Some of the work that we did was cutting edge. We were so far ahead of the curve, and just getting some of that work was really exciting to see some of that come to fruition and some of our clients using the technology early.
Yeah, and so with Chris and I being great friends, and knew that we wanted to continue the company because at the time we couldn't continue the company, and so we closed on that company, and you joined on with Chris and Cyanna, which we were excited because Chris is family to us, and we just thought all of it is going to continue to work, and the work is going to continue to go on.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, some of the stuff we're doing now with Cyanna is amazing. We're going to get into that here in a little bit. I'm, again, very happy to be involved with the Cyanna team and the education component of this, and working with you again.
Listen, we're going to have a lot of fun. Let's do this. Can you, for the audience, and let's get just very elementary, what is AR, what is VR, what is MR, and what is XR? Just the explanation of those. That way we can have that explanation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll start with XR because XR is kind of like a blanket term. It doesn't really stand for anything specific, but everything else comes underneath it. So when you talk about XR, you have your AR, your VR, and your MR underneath that. So rather than going into detail about each one of those, people just like to say XR.
XR, which is extended reality, which is all three of them working at one time.
All three, yeah. It's all kind of just underneath that. So we'll start with virtual reality. That's VR. That is kind of the immersive stuff that we started to do in the first place. You have the headset on, you're building complete environments in there, and you'll be able to walk through and interact with those. Very exciting technology. It makes you, it just kind of transports you to a whole other world.
Yeah.
Augmented reality is kind of more like trying to augment reality. You're trying to put digital overlaid items in the real world to help you either navigate or, find out what an item might be. And there's even, experiences where it's education based, like we're going to go into here, and also entertainment.
So it's like the physical and the digital meeting together.
A little bit, yes, it is. It's kind of like, okay, you're just literally, enhancing reality.
Enhancing something right now. So if I'm in this room and I want to augment something, we are in this room. We're not leaving it like VR will leave this room, right?
Yeah.
But we're still here in the physical.
Yep.
And then we can take something digital and everyone can see it at a bigger scale.
Now, mixed reality gets a little more difficult to understand sometimes because it's kind of a combination of virtual reality and augmented reality at the same time. You put your headset on, but you have this pass through. You still have the big bulky headset on, but you can still see your environment. But then what you do is you then add digital items all over the room. You can transform the room into a forest.
Yeah.
But it's still, but no, that doesn't, you can't have that kind of combination with augmented reality. It's just not powerful enough yet. So that's where the mixed reality comes in with, with a headset like that. And that, again, transport you to another environment, but it's still your own environment that you're sitting in. So that's that augmented reality and mixed reality sometimes get mixed up a little bit, but those are the real distinctions between
so
the two.
with the VR, I know some of the companies that we worked with when we worked together, so that folks will know the industries that are in it, like healthcare, right, military, gaming. It really started with gaming. We took it into education, right? Yes. Because a lot of folks, when we first introduced VR to the Midwest, a lot of folks was thought like, how do we use this? And we started bridging with other schools, with Ohio State and different places like that, where we started working with like, well, you can take this world into healthcare systems, education systems. Talk a little bit about more of that. It's more than gaming, because I know a lot of folks think VR is still this gaming thing, and gaming has made it popular because with a lot of headsets and gaming with Sony and them. But how have we translated the gaming into like these other industries?
That's great. I mean, one of the big things about new technologies is it usually starts in the gaming industry. And once gamers start to get a hold of that technology, then the rest of the public follows in line and they start adopting that technology. So when the games came out, it was incredible. It was immersive. But again, like you mentioned, a lot of these industries want to know, okay, what's the use case? How is this going to make an impact on my industry? And that's where we found things from, healthcare, being able to train an emergency room situation. That can be complex, it can be chaotic. So going into that real world environment is very difficult to train in. So we actually were building complete, emergency rooms in virtual reality. Then we can then make that whatever environment we wanted to, whatever, chaos we wanted to create, or how, whatever scenario we needed to actually educate somebody coming in there. It was very easy for us to do. And then they would see that return was phenomenal. You could go in there and it wouldn't cost you nearly as much to have real world training versus being able to be in VR. Plus with VR, like a training simulation like that, you can do it from anywhere.
Yeah.
You can be anywhere in the world and still put that headset on and do the same kind of training. So it doesn't matter if you're in the United States or you're in Europe somewhere. It's identical. So
and
that
you could use your phone for that.
The phone at that time.
At
the time you could, that was like the Google Cardboard or the Gear VR had that you could actually put your phone inside there. That has kind of fallen by the wayside. That's now considered old technology that we don't use anymore.
It's fast moving.
Fast moving. Yeah, it is. This industry is extremely fast moving.
A lot of folks want to know, you built a game first. Is that still on HoloLens?
Actually, it was for the original Oculus Rift. Yeah,
what's the name of that game?
It's called Proto Tanks.
See, folks don't know that. Jeff has a game out there called Proto Tanks. He went from a game to epileptic. Remember the epileptic?
Yeah, the epileptic seizure simulation. Yeah,
so he went from gaming to educating. And so that way, folks will understand the background that you come from. It was a huge shift, what I mean? But you did that shift.
Yeah, that was fun. That was so much fun though, because we're taking something that I was used to doing, and then you're gamifying an experience. So now you can feel, you have empathy inside there. You know how somebody with epilepsy might feel, or how they're going to react to an environment. And then from there, you can not to make it gamified, but you can track that person's emotions. Then you can see their where their eye gaze is going to be, how they're reacting inside of VR, and those are metrics that you couldn't collect in a normal simulation.
So Jeff, that's a perfect segue into what I want to talk about next. Is why has XR been so successful in education? What are these benefits we are seeing?
Great question. Yeah, that's one of the big things that we're finding here at Cyanna as we build out education platforms. We're finding one of the biggest benefits is retention. When you go into a VR environment, I always like to try to compare it to the first time you rode a bike.
Yeah.
You can remember when you got on that two-wheel bike and you were starting to go and you balanced it. You can remember where you were at, who was helping you, what the cars were on the street, what color your clothes were. That's the kind of retention you get from every VR experience. We're finding anywhere between 30 to 40 to even up to 85% retention rates over traditional learning.
Wow.
So that's where I think that VR is going to be the future of education someday, or even maybe the augmented reality stuff, but mainly the VR, because you can immerse that in there. You remember that, and all the metrics we can track now to make sure that your educational experience, you're getting your value.
And part of that, Jeff, is because we're using more than one senses, right?
Absolutely.
Right? So you're using your eyes, you're using your hearing, right? There's a lot more being touched, so you can gravitate that information more, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we can collect all that information. So if I'm out there and I'm grabbing something or I'm looking somewhere, there's a piece of software that we wrote. It was heavy duty VR.
Yes.
And that's a good, example of being able to be in an environment, driving around the forklift. You can feel the vibration in your hands. You have the background sounds, the sounds of the forklift. We can track where you're gazing, looking at. So if there's an accident inside VR, we know if you were looking straight ahead or not, or you're just off looking somewhere. And that's something, again, that unless in traditional environments, you don't always catch that. We catch everything in there.
That data analytics is a big piece for companies. If you're a company out there really that you're wanting to get into this, get a hold of us and we can build out, like we did for this forklift, training for you guys. And then you as a company now have data in the back that you would never have, right?
Right.
Unless you're following someone with a camera.
Yeah, you're not going to get this kind of data.
You're not going to get this kind of data because there's a lot of data collected that we need to know as a company. We need to know it so that we know how well our products are doing. But more importantly, the client wants to know this. I mean, that's the bread and butter of the entire thing, is being able to collect far more information and analyze in far more detail what you could have before. Yeah. So they can see that return almost instantaneously. 100%.
I mean, that's a great point, because you think about the traditional benefits for the student, but on the other side of the fence are all these benefits for training organizations,
100%.
schools, where, talk about, outside of like the data, but what type of like flexibility, that this technology offers, training anywhere, and the affordability of this technology now.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the things, like, we always strive to build a complete platform. So that's this way that it makes it easier, that like our heavy duty VR platform, for example, is completely customizable. We know that every warehouse is different across the country. It doesn't matter if you're Amazon or you're FedEx or whoever you are. Those are the kind of things that we can go in, we can customize inside of VR, and it's ready and instantly available to any of those clients. And then from location to location. But again, that's a physical warehouse that we're replicating, and now anybody in the country can go in there and train that. They don't have to come to that warehouse. They don't have to, worry about travel time and overnight time and all the money involved in it. So, the trainee has a tremendous cost saving, and a lot of time that's for the company too, because they will pick up those expenses, so they don't have those training costs anymore.
Yeah.
So that's the customizability and the ability to do it remotely like this is phenomenal.
And the headset themselves these days.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a nominal cost from when we started this thing.
Yeah, when we started, they were quite expensive.
And they untethered now.
Yeah,
right?
untethered now.
Before we had it tethered, and it was expensive.
One of the most popular is the Oculus Quest 2, which we like to build for. It's under $400. It's half the cost of your iPhone. So
100%.
And it makes that kind of technology, being able to have that in everybody's hands then is again.
And that's yours. The company buys that as theirs, and they can train 100 people on that one Oculus.
Yeah, as many people as they want to. But we've actually set up where you just have 2 or 3, and you have hundreds of people coming in the door to train those. Or if it's your own personal one, and they give you access to that. You can download it right off, off the internet, off the Oculus store or wherever, and you can train again as much as you want, over and over. And the company can still track all your metrics just to make sure.
So let's say in this warehouse scenario, if a company decides for each employee that I hire, I'm going to buy them an Oculus, right? And so that Oculus belongs to Tony. Tony has his Oculus, takes it home, and any new training that I give, I can give them access to
instantaneously.
And for the next 20 years,
sure,
I don't even have to have them come in for training. They can do it.
They can train. You
from
can
their house, from vacation.
Oh yeah, that's the beauty of it too. Because I mean, you bring up a good point there. Is how much we can update that software over time.
100%.
And that's another piece of redoing training material is costly. But for us, you upload this new training training information, and it's available to all your employees instantly across your entire company.
So if you own your own company out there, just think about this. I don't have to now print 1,000 manuals. I don't have to, right? I don't have to do none of all paper goes to the side.
Yeah.
Everything's done. And then again, the analytics that you're going to have as a company when it comes to that is going to be incredible.
Yeah, far more than any kind of analytics you can collect in the past.
Okay.
So you also are allowing, or rather improving, a company's employee retention as well, right? Yeah. You have a better trained employee that they're more immersed in their training and even in like the culture of the company,
Oh, absolutely. And that's another good point. Training can be boring. It really can. But we find employees are excited about this now.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to put a headset on. They're going to be in something completely brand new, and they actually enjoy that training now.
Yeah.
So that's another piece that we don't talk about a lot is, you know, how happy they are.
Tell me as a developer, because I know you develop a lot of things, and I know we've talked about this in the past, how important it is to add those gamified situations so that it can be fun, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's why I enjoy doing this so much, because I came from a gaming background and being able to track that. But no, okay, we track all this information, but how does that then, you know, translate to the employee or the person training or even the student? Being able to earn, you know, badges or be able to see what your time is compared to other people, or, you know, any of those things across you'd think of a gaming scenario, you put that in education and that makes them try harder.
Yeah.
You know, they want to beat that next person. So therefore that training becomes even more valuable now, because then you have a kind of a competition internally. Scott,
we did this, Jeff was reminding me, we did this, they built the simulator and we were trying to extinguish something with some fire thing we were trying to extinguish in a room.
Oh,
and it was timed.
Yes, that was the fire extinguishers. Yes, that was fire training.
And we were trying to, and so all of us got on it, and you can see a whole bunch of 30 or 40-year-olds acting like 10-year-olds trying to beat each other's score.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Trying to work on this gaming, right? It's literally for fire training, but we took it like, who has the highest score, who has a better score? That kind of stuff just adds.
Oh, it adds to it. And then it doesn't even have to be just something like with the score. I remember when we had our cityscape where you went up in a glass elevator.
100%.
You know, how many people were afraid of heights that we put it on? We had some that wouldn't even go up the elevator. They'd take the headset off and they were done. But that helps also in terms of, you know, training for overcoming heights or overcoming fears. So that's another piece that, you know, in the forklift training, we did the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, some of those forklifts you can go up 40 feet in the air. And you get up there, it starts wobbling and everything. And even after me developing it, after a period of time, I finally got used to it. But the first couple of times, you know, it's starting to wave back and forth. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Scott, we've seen people fall.
Oh, yes.
Walk in a plank and literally just take and face plant.
They did.
And we felt horrible, but it was like.
But that's the power.
It's the power of this thing once you're in VR.
Yeah. So we've talked a little bit about VR. Let's talk a little bit about AR, augmented reality, and how that can really supplement someone's online or even in-person curriculum.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the things that we aimed to do at Cyanna when we first came on board, was trying to figure out a way that we could get some of the equipment in front of students. The CompTIA course that we had, having access to physical equipment is expensive. So, you know, every student's not going to have that. So what we did is we built out an entire library of all these computer components, and just using your phone and scanning like a QR code in the course, up comes a motherboard, up comes memory, up comes a hard drive right on your desk. In live time. And, you know, we can, again, track those analytics. You know, we know if you are working with it, you're zooming in, you're paying attention to that stuff. So the cost benefit to both the educator and the student was absolutely incredible.
So you said something there. So I want our audience to understand, like, the computer that you have there, Scott, we can literally take you into that computer, show you every part of that computer at a bigger scale with AR. And so you would not know what that chip looks like. You don't want to know what the keyboard looks like, but we can actually open that up in every area and then show you how to work with those areas. And then you also mentioned QR code, right? Yeah. Because a lot of folks don't understand how powerful QR code is. Can you get into that QR code? Because I know you and I have gone deep diving into this conversation. How many businesses do not take advantage of QR codes?
Yeah, QR codes is a wonderful technology. It's very simple for us to implement. We've written our own system that allows that. But printing it out and distributing that, you know, for companies, you know, or put it on their website or anything like that, it is so powerful because all you need is your phone. And everybody, I mean, so many people have, you know, different kinds of phones that allow that. So all you need is a phone to click it. No other hardware. It's kind of like cheaper than VR even, you know, since you already have it. And you can use that QR code over and over, and we can change that experience online. So, you know, if one time you have a laptop, you know, when you scan that QR code, next time we can change it so when you scan that same QR code, it's now a mammoth, like we did for the museum.
Yes,
You know, that's the same kind of concept, and it's so easy to change that information. But again, that impact of, you know, being able to take that laptop or take that mammoth and scale it to your size of your room. Yeah. You can't have that kind of technology anywhere else.
And for marketing and sales, I know you and I have deep dive in this. There's a lot of companies, and maybe you can touch a little bit. A lot of companies want apps. Right? It's the first thing they come up to you and like, oh, I want an app. I want an app. And we try to get them away from that app thinking because it's so expensive to not only make, but to continue to keep going, right? So explain the difference, like even for marketing's sake. Like if I'm in Target, I have an app. What would a QR code do for me instead of just having people go to this app, which no one wants to do when they go into a store?
Right.
Explain the app situation versus QR codes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's something we explored early on because that was a very big hurdle we ran into where, they went, okay, we want an app. Okay, we have to build 2 or 3 different types of apps for different types of phones and so on and so forth. And then getting those people then to download those apps. There was too many moving parts. It just wasn't going to work. So we came up with the concept of being able to put all of this on the web. The web's, it's already there. Everybody has access to it. And through QR codes that in just your camera, you have the same capability as some of these applications, these apps that were out there. So it became more valuable and cost effective to go that route for companies. So we kind of steered them away from the app just for the simple fact that, you're going to get a better return. People are going to use it. So like you said, if I go into Target and I, scan a QR code, that could be for anything Target wants it to be. It could be for navigating.
The sales of that day.
Yeah, the sales of the day or navigating through the store. Yeah. You get, basically left arrow, right arrow to wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
Or, you see a product, you scan it, it comes up with all the information about it, and it could be something, buy a pair of shoes and these socks match well with it. And that's easy to do in augmented reality instantaneously. So,
and all you need is a camera.
All you need is your camera on your phone.
So instead of, so picture the picture, Scott here, you go into Target, there's a QR code right in the front. Every time you scan that QR code, it's going to tell you whatever it's going to tell you. So you don't have to go to the app, try to get the Wi-Fi, which is the hardest thing when you go into a store and an app and trying to get their sales is the Wi-Fi never works.
Never works.
Right? I mean, does everybody out there can agree with that? Wi-Fi doesn't work in a store. But you can get all the sales of the day, all the sales of the week. Hey, go to this back area and we're going to actually walk you to the back area through QR codes. So much flexibility and cost-effective way. Because it's not that expensive to continue to keep that app running.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Interesting. So where can they check this out in action online? Where can they go see this for themselves?
Oh, yeah. We have actually examples on our Origami Interactive website. You can go origamiinteractive.com and go to the virtual reality section, augmented reality section, and there's a QR code right there.
That's right. Along
with our objects that you can then visualize. It's a great way to just jump in and see how it works.
So speaking of Origami Interactive and everything that's going on at Cyanna, we've talked about where we've been. We've talked about where we are now. But let's talk a little bit about what's next. Where is Jeff? You are just digesting this content all the time, sharing stuff with us on Slack. He keeps me informed. He is my XR expert and my news feed. But what are you seeing in the industry? Where is the industry going, and how is Cyanna positioning themselves to be in the midst of it?
Great question. That's we could be here all day talking about this. So I'll try to keep it quiet.
Snapdragon Qualcomm XR255 chip.
There's one that's the hardware. That's a new chipset that's going to be coming out. That's going to enable the next generation of headsets
and glasses.
Some of the stuff that they're talking about now. I mean, we're looking. Apple's looking at maybe possibly launching a headset. The first quarter of 2023, and then they have their XR glasses that are in development. Once that stage happens, though, we're probably maybe 3 to 4 years away still. Then you have a regular form factor glasses on, like I'm wearing right here, but it can process that and give me augmented reality in real time without any addition. That's amazing. But we're also starting. I mean, anybody who pays attention to XR, they're starting to see the Web3 technologies, the metaverse. You're starting to hear that a lot, and all the other technologies behind that, like blockchain and cryptocurrencies and whatnot. We're still a ways away on that. Nobody can really clearly define what the metaverse is, but we have a kind of a clear idea of where it's heading. So that's what we're trying to do with Cyanna right now is position ourselves as an education company within the quote unquote metaverse.
Yeah.
And by doing that, we're starting on a new project called XRU, our XR University. And it's not just going to be for schools and stuff. It can be for any company. We're going to make it very flexible, very customizable, depending on if you're a school, you could be a community college, a major university, Fortune 500 company, a small business down the road. It's still everybody's going to have access to this, to be able to do that training. So that's what we're building right now. I'm very excited about it. It's still in the early stages, but we're going to make sure that the same kind of VR technology that we've already built on, we're going to build on top of that. And some of the new stuff that we're going to be including in it, making sure that, as many users as possible can now be involved on that campus at any given time. So that's a real exciting piece that we're doing, because pretty soon we won't even be having meetings like this. We're going to be doing them in VR.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to take the Cyanna Podcast in VR. and our avatars are going to be in there. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah, that's
going to be lots of fun.
Under development right now.
And we are preparing, I think one of the things that I know we're doing in Cyanna, we're preparing for when the glasses come out, for when these other things happen, because they are coming. They are, that's why 5G was so important.
Yes,
because
it is.
the Qualcomm chip, so that folks understand, is that's 5G capable. So that chip can be in the glasses, can be anywhere else. It's ready to get on the phone line and then download everything right now. As you're walking into the store, everything will be in the glasses. You can see what's going on. We're preparing not only ourselves but folks for that moment, because it's coming.
Yes, we are. We're staying on that edge still. We don't really have any use cases yet because we don't have the hardware on our hands yet. So we are still developing a lot of beta applications that are going to work with that technology. Yeah. Something we can't share right now because it's not there, but there's a lot of really exciting stuff we have in development that's going to take advantage of that new technology coming out. And you mentioned 5G. There's obviously going to be another iteration of that.
It's going to be
the faster that gets, the more you can download obviously to these headsets and to these glasses. So it's going to make everything in real time. And having real time digital items, just pop up or anything right on your glasses is going to be phenomenal.
Jeff, what would you say to a school owner, a school director, a business owner, a business leader who is on the fence about taking that next step into XR?
Great question.
Yeah, I usually don't have to say a lot. What I end up doing is taking a headset,
show them,
put them inside VR, and usually that is what will convince them more than anything else. But if I had to sit there and actually talk to them about it, then it would be those benefits that we've kind of discussed. That return on investment, but the retention,
tracking,
that tracking, all those metrics,
analytics,
all that information you can get and showed you one-to-one that your traditional training versus this is there's no comparison.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that actually helps, get people off that fence. Of course, putting them in the headset, put them in VR works every time.
Scott, that's a great question. And I think that's the power of VR, AR. It's once you show someone once, it's addicting. It's like, okay, what else can we do to educate our people? What else curriculum can we do? So much, possibilities in using this technology in our everyday. And
it makes your curriculum addicting, your training addicting, and that's where a lot of those benefits really, really come from.
100%.
Last question I'm gonna queue up for you, Jeff. You're a tech guy. Love getting all these updates from you, but if you had to peg, I want to know what excites you the most. What really drives you, and what are you looking forward to next? What's on the horizon that makes you jump out of bed and work all these hours that you do? Stay immersed in this immersive education. What excites you the most?
I think the biggest thing that excites me, especially all the Web3 technologies are coming. You see Web3 bounced around a lot out there. Right now, it's kind of a solution without a use case yet, and I think that's what excites me, because we're getting into these newer technologies that like all the VR, the AR, the MR stuff, the web, all the Web3 technology and the metaverse, and you're looking at blockchains and crypto technologies and NFTs. That is going to be the next generation of the web. So that is what excites me to get out, get up, do this stuff, see what every morning something new. And that's what I love about my field is I'm constantly learning. So what I'm seeing now is all these technologies coming together from, digital ownership and how well you can track the information and the immersive worlds that people are starting to create and what we're doing in education, that is the future. That is we're going to go away from the 2D interfaces that we're used to. Yeah. So to make the world another digital twin is real exciting to me.
And and it's here. As Metaverse is doing their thing, a lot of what they're doing is preparing us for this.
Yeah, they're preparing. You're getting that technology out there in little pieces here and there. It hasn't all come together yet, but it's getting there. And as we start moving forward, we're going to find those use cases that fit into a whole nother paradigm of business.
I would tell you what, Scott, Jeff and I, whenever these glasses come out, wherever it's at, Jeff and I will be flying there or driving there. And we be the ones waiting online like the nerds, you know what I mean? And we will buy these because I can't wait. We've been talking about this for 8 years now.
Yes.
So I can't wait to get my hands on these glasses. It's all coming to, and so I'm excited that you are part of Cyanna and what we're doing. I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited that I'm here.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be involved in the university. And so I'm excited to explore and get this thing out there.
Very exciting. Yes, thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad we could talk about this and see everybody in VR next time.
Listen, if you're out there and you're on the fence, just call us. I'm serious. Just get a hold of us, and I promise you, it'll change your world. Or get to the site again. What's the site again that they can know?
That is origamiinteractive.com.
Origamiinteractive.com. Go there, show and tell, and man, we'll get this thing rolling.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.